Hello everyone, what a weekend. This past weekend, starting on Friday and running through Saturday, I was a co-host for our local quilt retreat. Now for several years I was the host for this event and I decided to give it up, and one of my quilt friends decided to take it over. Well, she asked for my help several years ago and I've been helping co-host the event since then. So my topic for today is going to be quilt retreats. It's one of my favorite quilt related events. I simply love going to quilt retreats. Now it is different when you host one than when you're just going as an attendee, but regardless, they're fun no matter what. Now in the comments below, I'd like for you to let me know if you've been on a quilt retreat. Now I know some of you haven't because some of you have put that in the comments. But if you have been to one, tell me about it. Tell me about what you liked most about it. Did you go with friends? Do you enjoy them? Do you prefer to sew alone? Just let me know in the comments below. Now my friend and I, we start planning this quilt event several months in advance, at least half a year or more. In fact, we've already started talking about next year's retreat. Now, planning an event like this is a lot of hard work and takes a lot of planning. Those who have hosted one before definitely know what I'm talking about. One of the things that we always do is we always provide some sort of goodie bag. Now this year, my daughter and I put together these notebooks. Well, actually, my daughter did all the footwork on it. Well, she did all the assembly of them, but I got all the supplies together and showed her what I want done. But we put together a Quilters Notebook for each of the quilters. And I'm going to show you these so that if you ever want to host an event, or if you need a door prize for your quilt guild meetings, maybe this will give you an idea. Okay, so here is the Quilters Notebook that we put together. Now here on the front, we simply purchased a quilters kind of a color book, for adult color book for quilters, and I just cut out the pages and we slipped one of these in the front cover. And so the quilters can color that themselves. Now on the back, we put a binding on that says Quilting Notebook, and we just used, this is cardstock that I used. This font, which is a really cool font, is called Bon Bon. And we just made those, and my daughter just slipped them right in there. We just use really bright colors. Then on the back of the notebook, those of you who have been watching my videos and know me a little bit know that my favorite saying is, remember, things don't have to be perfect to be wonderful. And we put that saying on the back. Then she just slipped those in the back of each notebook. Okay, so as we take a look inside the notebook, the first thing is just a pencil pouch, and inside this we've included a package of colored pencils. These colored pencils can be used to color the front of the notebook, the design on the front of the notebook, and it can be used to color in your diagrams to represent your color choices in the quilts that you design. Now these pouches came from our local Dollar General. The pencils came from just our local big box store like Walmart. We included just a spiral notebook, and this can be used for planning or taking notes, whatever they need. We've included page protectors, and in these page protectors they can put in any of the things that they want. Maybe they have a quilt pattern that they've printed off, a free printable quilt pattern. In this one I've put in my quilt retreat packing list, my to-do list, my UFO quilt list. And then there's just all kinds of other free printables that they can print off for personal uses. This is a quilt project planner that's free for personal use. And I always like to have a list of the common size quilt sizes. This was another free printable that I printed off for my own personal use. And then at the very back, we just have graph paper for making and drawing out quilt diagrams or block diagrams or quilt patterns, just like I've done in this notebook. Some other things you could include that we didn't include: you can include a pack of sticky notes, or a highlighter, or a pencil for drawing lines on fabric. You can just be as creative as you want with these. Maybe you want to include some type of ruler, but I really think that the attendees enjoyed and liked these notebooks, and I think they'll find them quite useful. Now, one of the other things that we always do at our quilt retreats are we have a show and share, and that's simply where quilters show quilts, tops they've done or quilts they finished. And I saw some amazing quilts this weekend. Now, my friend Ray has agreed to let me post this picture, so please don't think I did it without her permission. I did have her permission, but she has made a simply fantastic quilt. So I want to show you the quilt top that she shared with us. Now, that wasn't the only quilt that was shown this weekend, and it was not the only amazing quilt, but I love this quilt. I thought she did a truly amazing job on it. Now, another thing that always occurs at our retreats are schoolhouses, and schoolhouses are just little tutorials given by one of our quilt members or several of our quilt members about how to do things. For example, one of our quilters gave us and showed us the supplies that she uses to make bags. It's just kind of informative little sessions. I did a session on how to fold a quilt on the bias, and then I've done a video on how to make the design boards before, but I did a tutorial and showed them how to make the design boards during a little class session. Now, one of the things that our quilt attendees love the most is what we call trash to treasure. And we set up a couple of tables. Actually, I think we set up 3 tables this year. And the quilters bring stuff out of their quilt room that they want to get rid of, and they just put it on these tables. And then I do have a picture to show you. This is the table after 3 days of a quilt retreat, and this is kind of what was left, but these tables were piled high. And then every so often we give each attendee a number, and then we call those numbers throughout the quilt retreat. And when we say for example, when we call number 1, all those with number 1 get to go shopping for free, and you just get to take an item, and then you go sit down. And then in a little bit we call number 2, so all the number 2s go up there and do shopping. And it is really just a lot of fun. It's a way to get rid of things you don't want in your quilt room, but somebody else could really find as a treasure. So I will show you a picture of our trash to treasure. However, please keep in mind that these 3 tables were piled high. Another thing I'm going to be showing you a picture of is our treat table. Now, each quilter, when they come, they bring some sort of snack to share with others. It doesn't have to be enough for every member there, but they bring something that will serve several people, and we put it all on one table, and that's our snack table. And let me tell you, quilters know how to cook, and they definitely know how to make delicious tasting treats. So that's all laid out, and those are snacks for the entire quilt retreat. You know, and again, this picture, I didn't think to take these at the beginning, but this table was full. It was just crammed full of the most delicious snacks you can imagine. Another one of the little things that we do at our quilt retreat is we provide instructions for a Quilt of Valor block. And then if the attendees would like to make one, they make a QOV block. Then those blocks are given to the lady who's in charge of the Quilt of Valors in our area. Now, some of you, as I've mentioned before in the comments, have said you had never been at a quilt retreat. So I wanted to do something that might help you understand what quilt retreats are all about. So I posed a question to several of the quilters in the group, but I asked them to answer this question: what is a quilt retreat? And several of them participated. It was all done anonymously, so I'm not going to identify anybody who wrote these, but I definitely have to read some of these to you. And I am going to have to use my paper to read them because I didn't memorize all these. They were just amazing responses that I want to share with you. Okay, so remember the question is, what is a quilt retreat? So one person said, retreats are the best kept time with friends and fellow quilters. They are times of fun, inspiration, and learning. Another one said, 100 years plus of experience, quilting experience, all in one room. Another wrote, a quilt retreat to me is friends. The sewing and quilting is secondary for me, but it's also enjoyable. Another quilter said, a quilt retreat is visiting like you're on vacation. It's candy to a quilter. Another quilter wrote, an opportunity to share in fellowship with sister quilters, lots of fun, laughter, sharing, making new friends, and becoming closer. A gift to yourself for some me time. A time for concentrated sewing without the day-to-day interruptions. A quilt retreat to me is fun. If I couldn't laugh, I wouldn't go. The fun, the sharing, the snacking, they are just great. Another one wrote, the best therapy ever. Another one said, sewing with friends or a group of people who have the same interest as you, who share ideas and give you tips. So I thought about what my definition would be, and mine's kind of lengthy, but let me read to you what I came up with. A quilt retreat is a celebration with friends and fellow quilters. A celebration of the art of quilting that includes sharing, inspiration, teaching, learning, and true fellowship. Quilt retreats really are amazing. Quilting is a great hobby, but it is truly something else when you share it with others. In the comments below, if you'd like to answer this question, please feel free to do it. Again, the question is, what is a quilt retreat? Now, don't forget to be posting your UFOs or the progress you've made on your UFOs on the on my Facebook UFO challenge page. I'm looking forward to seeing those. I posted a couple of pictures from the quilt retreat. So be sure to take a look at those. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please share with a friend, and as always, leave a comment. I love to get the comments and try to respond to each and every one. So until next time, have fun quilting.